What's going on, good blessed people? Um, Been a kind of a short hiatus. Turn this down some. But it's been kind of a short hiatus. But I'm back with a quick live video this morning. Um, so this video is fairly simple. It's the reason why I don't abandon black men. And it's so funny that being a quote unquote black man or a man of African descent, it's so funny that being a quote unquote black man or a man of African descent that you even have to say that. Other races of men and other cultures of men don't have to say that. But for whatever particular reason within our community, there seems to be a war, like a gender war, and particularly aimed um, at heterosexual black men. It just seemed like that's where it's aimed at. Um, and no matter how many times you try to tell um, people, they don't listen. But I constantly see the after effects of what African American men go through. You know, so I think what inspired this video this morning is I got a call from an old friend last night, and we was discussing some things, and of it reminded me of my nephew, and his story and my nephew's story was very similar, and it just put me in the mindset of, man, people really don't think black men have hearts, and they don't think black men are worthy of being treated with dignity and respect and just being treated like a decent human being in this country. And the worst is the women that supposedly look like us are the worst ones at it. Now, let me say this, because I've had a lot of people um, try to accuse me of hating African American women. I don't hate African American women. All right. Just because someone is critiquing your behavior doesn't mean they hate you. All right. But I do critique your behavior, and I do not tolerate the behavior of a lot of African American women because they have a particular mindset that is destructive for the next generation. And that's the thing that people are not thinking about. They're not thinking about the little ones coming behind us, the kids, right? How do you think a boy identifies or gauges himself? He gauges himself off his predecessor, which is his father. And if he sees his father constantly being berated and tore down by women, it's going to make him do one or two things. It's going to make him either grow up to be extremely effeminate. I'm not going to even go, he might become part of the alphabet community, or he's going to grow up and he's going to have a disdain and a contempt for all women. All women. He's not going to trust them. He's not going to respect them. He's going to dog them out. He's just going to use them for their bodies. This is what he's going to do. All right. So let me get right into it more in depth. A lot of African American men are told when we're kids that, for one, we're never to hit a girl. We're supposed to be nice to a woman. We're supposed to be a gentleman. We're supposed to provide. We're supposed to protect. We're supposed to guide. But no one's telling the females what they're supposed to do for a man. Not positively, anyway. When they're telling these young girls, is get what you can get out of a man. Get the bag. You can't trust a man. That's what's being told to them. So when you have this man meeting up with this woman, this man is all in, he's loyal, and this woman is coming in with half of her foot out the door. Already. From inception, she's coming into the situation like that. There is not a lot that you can do with that. But the aftermath, these brothers are getting it. They're still creating babies with these women because they're thinking it's the right thing to do. They've seen their mother be difficult. They've seen their aunt be difficult. They've seen every woman in their life be difficult towards men. So they're sticking it out because they think this is the right thing to do. And the only thing that she's doing is biding her time. She's biding her time, waiting for the next, for lack of a better word, John to come along so she can jump on his bandwagon. Meanwhile, you find yourself in divorce court. Now you got to pay child support. Now you got to pay alimony. Everything that you work for as a man, which is taken away from you because a woman didn't want to cooperate with you. This stuff is happening to these men out here, man. This is not rare. It's not even a every now and then. This is regular. This is regular basis. This is what's happening to these brothers out here, man. This is why these brothers are so angry with y'all. And I hear a lot of women out here still act as though they don't want to listen. Still act as though there isn't any validity to what these men are saying. You don't know pain as a human being until you've had the person that you're in love with not only break your heart, but take your heart. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. See, y'all think when these women leave these men, y'all tell me, oh, she wasn't happy. That's all everybody's thinking about is the girl wasn't happy. No one's ever thought about the fact that maybe she can't be made happy. Maybe there's something broken in her. She need a fixing. She need to lay on somebody's couch. Right? The only thing they say is, oh, she wasn't happy. If a man tries to be a man within the home, oh, he's being controlling. Being the head by default puts you in charge. But most black men are very liberal when it comes to their women. Most black men are very liberal. Most black men ain't telling their woman they can't work, they got to stay at home. Most black men are not saying that. Most black men encourage the woman to work. Most black men support their women. But I digress. Let me explain to you. When you marry somebody and you have kids by that person, right? You are invested. As a man, this is your investment. And when that woman can go down to the local courthouse and file for divorce, and not only divorce you, but take your children, all right? So not only do you have to deal with one heartbreak, but however many children that you have by her, that's an additional heartbreak. You go from seeing your children every day, coming home, spending time with them, loving on them, to not being able to see them but for a few days out the month, then on top of all of that, most likely the case is you're going to have to pay her child support. And that's not even a topic that can be adequately even remotely discussed in the African American community. Because whatever uh, the government puts down, we just soak it up. I've never seen a race of people that hate themselves so much, and I'm talking about African American people, to where the very entity that plucked them from their homeland, made them slaves, raped them, pillaged them, beat them, maimed them, ripped them from their children, ripped their families apart, would let them get married. The master would come sleep with the wives. The very entity that did that experimented on them. Modern gynecology, black women were experimenting on, a lot of times without anesthesia. Do we forget the Tuskegee experiment? There's so many different examples that we have to go off of, but we still trust Big Daddy government. What Big Daddy government says goes. So when we start talking about, even trying to talk about removing the government out the picture by eliminating child support, black folks ain't trying to hear that stuff. At least black women are not anyway. But anywho, again, let me digress. So you just had your family taken from you. Now you got to pay child support. Whatever income that you was making, now it's ripped at either half or you're making only going to bring home about 3/4 of your check. If you lucky, you'll get 3/4. I've known people to be paying over half of child support, and everybody within the African American community just tells you to suck it up. You just literally had the rug pulled from up under you. You didn't do anything wrong. You did everything that was right, and you had the rugs pulled from up under you. And the women that does this to you get a pass. They get a pass. And no one is actually trying to have the conversation to actually help these brothers out. You guys don't know how many men that hit me up, call me, DM me, hurting, grown men. I hear grown men crying on the phone. These are alpha brothers. These are tough brothers. These are brothers that you would never think that would shed a tear. Broken. No one even considers their side of the story. The female is automatically the victim. How could you ever be seen as needing help when no one would ever see you as a victim? How could you ever receive aid when no one would ever see you as being valuable? How y'all ever going to see these brothers as needing relief if every time something happens between a man and a woman, you see the man as the victim automatically? These women are terrorizing these guys out here. My son just came home from school the other day and told me, he was like, Dad, um, something happened at school. And I was like, what? He was like, well, they removed most of the females out of our class. And I was like, huh? He said, yeah, because there was a lot of fights going on in school. And 95% of them was girls. Girls. He said, we had to have a safety briefing. He said, we've had over 20 fights and only 2 of them have been boys. And y'all know these girls and these women out here are like this. But y'all still tell the men to suck it up. I'm not going to abandon black men. I'm not. The reason, and I'm going to tell you my final say, because I'm going to bring this video to a close. The word of God tells us that it's not right for man to be alone. So I will make a helper suitable for him, right? So God himself said, I don't want man alone. He also said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. And before you even start to formulate this in your this picture in your head, image and likeness means that you appear like and you act like, right? Where did God form man from? What substance was he molded from? The earth. What color is the earth? He is made, the black man is made in the image and the likeness of the Most High God. God told him he was to be, to subdue and have dominion. That means he was to bring things into submission and rule over it. Brothers, that's why that's why you're getting so much pushback. It's because it's your birthright. It's your birthright to be kings, to rule everything that you survey and have dominion over it. I'm not going to abandon black men because black men are the foundation of the family. It starts with him. I know we got single parent homes. Single parent homes is an epidemic, especially in the African American community. I know we have that going on here, but it doesn't work because things are getting progressively worse. Women can't lead a household. They can't. Y'all talking about stepdaddy season. It doesn't work. He has no vested interest. That is not his line. That is not his seed. That is not his generation. That is not his generational wealth. It doesn't work. So I'm going to be here encouraging these brothers to learn how to rediscover who they really are. Learning to how to be be happy with themselves and content with themselves. Learn how to choose a wife properly. To have offspring. And to create generational wealth. I ain't say anything about balling. I said generational wealth. Wealth that can be passed down from generation to generation. The word says a wise man saves for his children's children. That's the key that you guys are missing. It's about legacy, not about the now. So I'm going to be helping these men with their legacy. That's all I got to say. I thank you guys for joining in. KDO out.